It really is a privilege to be here today, and I want to tell you why. I was speaking with the Congresswoman and some of the folks when I came in, and many people don't realize the impact that her dad, Congressman Roybal, had not only on this community, but really globally. Because before it was politically correct, this was a courageous guy who got into the trenches and fought for equal justice, fought for health equity, social equity, and all of those things that we talk about today. And he really exposed himself. And so for those of you who haven't read his bio and read his history, you ought to take a look, because this is one magnificent man who, from an early age, really did dedicate his life selflessly to making it better for marginalized populations, for poor people, and for so-called minorities. I never planned to be Surgeon General of the United States, but probably the best training I had to be Surgeon General of the United States was really to grow up as a poor kid. You know, today we have names for all of these things. The sociologists know them better than I do. But I was just a kid running the streets. My parents were immigrants. They spoke English as a second language. We were the first generation. I have 2 brothers and a sister. None of us graduated from school, from high school. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to stand on a long line in a public health facility and hope to get care. I know what it's like not to get vaccinations on time. And I know what it's like to go to bed with a toothache on a hungry stomach and not sure what the next day is going to bring. You got to figure out how to translate complex stuff in a health literate, culturally competent manner to an end user, a fellow citizen that we call a patient, to do one thing only: effect sustainable behavioral change. That's it. Don't smoke. Walk a little more. Don't eat that stuff. Stop shooting and stabbing each other, you know? I mean, the messages are really pretty simple when you look at where the disease burden is coming from and the economic burden that goes along with it. What do we know about healthy aging? We know a lot about healthy aging, but we're not spending a lot of time on it. So I want to just, in the last few minutes, give you an anecdote that really reflects the importance of understanding culture and understanding health literacy. A couple of decades ago, I was down in southern Mexico in some very rural areas, and I was with my kids, and we were, vacationing, and I was showing them culture. And I happened to stop in a little village. There was a little strip mall in this village, and it was plywood that was just hammered together, and at the end there was a elderly lady in the sombra, in the shade, and it was hot, and she was in a rocking chair, and she reminded me of my grandmother, and I wanted to just go talk to her. She gets up every morning at 5 or 6 in the morning. She goes and picks vegetables. She decides what's going to happen. The kids go out and open the stores. But what you started to see in the half hour I was with her, every 5 minutes, one of those people would come to her. Abuela, what should we do? Abuela, what about this? She was the most important person in that village. She was the matriarch in that village. She had a reason to live. She was socially connected. And those are variables that we understand today are important variables for not only quantity of life, but quality of life. In the Hispanic culture, that kind of relationship is revered. You don't put Abuela in a nursing home. There's no such thing over there. You own Abuela for life. And as I travel the world, Abuela helps to raise you, then you help her at the end. It's a circle of life. Should a zip code define who you are and what your life expectancy should be? Because that's the way it is today. I can pull zip codes all over the nation, and I can have a predictive index that will tell me how likely it is you're going to die 10 or 15 or 20. Even in L.A., look at the difference between South Central and Beverly Hills. Okay? It's night and day. It's 2 different countries. Zip code should not be a dependent variable on longevity or success in life. And our social workers understand that, and the Roybal Institute understands that, and Edward Roybal understood it over half a century ago when he started working in communities to change that. How do we preserve physical and cognitive ability through the ages? Well, that abuelita that I saw in Mexico told us how. You stay physically active your whole life. You stay socially connected. You eat healthy. She ate farm to table. There were no salt. There was no monosodium glutamate. There was no preservatives. Okay? Physically active, socially connected, eating healthy foods, and didn't have a whole lot of stress in her life. She had this big family around her who loved her every day and made her feel good about what she is. And she made her children feel good. That's really the secret. It's right before us and it's simple, but we keep forgetting it. And we keep getting involved in these arguments that are superfluous for what we need to do. In closing, I will tell you, we all have to age, but we don't have to get old. And that abuelita showed me that at 106 years old when I met her. Our goal should be to live longer and younger. Thanks very much.